The Prime Minister has placed an ambitious target before the nation to become a developed country in the next 25 years. So where were we 25 years ago? India's GDP in the early 90s was a little over $300 billion and today stands at nearly $3 trillion. Now that is a 10x growth. Is that possible again in the next 25? One person best placed to answer this is Mr. Deepak Parekh, the man who has overseen the growth of India's financial sector in the last 25 years, having built 4 A1 companies, an NBFC, a bank, a mutual fund and an insurance company. Mr. Parekh, thank you very much for joining us on what's a very important occasion for the country. Well, first up, this goal that the Prime Minister has placed before us to become a developed country in 25 years. What are your thoughts, I mean, in terms of the economy, the GDP and the per capita?
See, Lata, I have been recently saying to every foreign investor and anyone whom I meet that in my 50 years of working life in India, I have never been as optimistic about the future potential of our country as I am today.
Okay.
We have been saying this for a while, that the optimism around India's growth potential is well within our grasp. The pivot of future global growth has clearly shifted to Asia. And for India, one is seeing trends of transformation at a very large scale. We, as you know, are one of the largest countries in Asia if you take China out.
Yes.
So over the past 15 years, more than 300 million Indians have been lifted out of poverty. Now, this feat has been the highest rate of poverty reduction seen anywhere in the world. No one gives us credit for that.
Okay.
India is, as you are aware, and we've said it repeatedly, probably the fastest growing major economy.
Yes.
And will remain that way for some years. So with our rising middle class, aspirational society, domestic-driven large consumption, what the country now needs is a higher rate of investment. Nothing is achieved without vision. Nothing is achieved without conviction. That was what the Honorable Prime Minister was alluding to yesterday. Clearly, he has the political capital to set India on a higher growth plane.
Okay.
So the game changers, what you wanted to know, what is needed, the game changers of tomorrow are food security,
Yes.
which we have, energy security, technology or the fourth industrial revolution, R&D, and of course having the finance and capital to facilitate these developments and these projects. That is the aspiration we all need to work towards.
I want to dwell on what we got right. And you are best placed to answer that since, HDFC was set up just a year before liberalization and just a couple of years after that, HDFC Bank was set up. And you've, literally strode like a colossus during these decades. You tell us, what did we get right that we could grow our GDP 10x in the last 25 years?
So if you're talking of the past, so in chronological order, to my mind, there are 3 standout successes, which are significant. There are lots of others, but these are significant. First is the economic and financial liberalization of the 90s, which paved the way for private sector banks, asset management companies, mutual funds, and later even insurance companies. So this was the starting point of the formation of financial conglomerates in India.
Yeah.
The second standout success, according to me, was the coming together of the Jam Trinity, the large scale up of Jan Dhan accounts, which no other country has been able to achieve. The Aadhaar cards and the mobile numbers. This combination gave the much needed thrust to financial inclusion. What did it give? It gave every citizen an identity to be included in the financial system. Rapid penetration of mobiles at very affordable price points, enabled online payment system to grow rapidly in the country. And I would say the third outstanding success of the Indian financial system is clearly the UPS, the Unified Payment System.
Interface, yes.
It not only showcased to the world our IT capabilities, but has also revolutionized the payment industry. And the amount of transactions being transacted on a daily basis keeps increasing or galloping, I would say.
Yeah.
So this has been UPS has been a significant success for payments.
Okay. So, I'm going to come back to this UPI, and now even the ONDC is about to be sprung on us as, a national framework for commerce, e-commerce. But I'll come to that in just a minute. Can you also point out to what missteps we took? I mean, would you say nationalization was a misstep? Do you think it was adequately rectified in the 90s?
So, Lata, let me say the financial sector, the biggest lacuna or missteps, what you say, was not having foreclosure laws.
Oh.
Till SARFAESI came in the year 2002. And as you know, the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code was introduced much later in 2016. Foreclosure laws, bankruptcy frameworks are basic legal requirements in any financial system. I think India got these regulations rather late in the day, but at least they are there now with us. And on bank nationalization, I would say it is important to look at the context at that time, at that point in time.
Okay.
So if one is looking at a 75-year history, then one has to go back to the nationalization of RBI first in 1949, SBI in 55, and 14 commercial banks were nationalized in 1969, and a few others later on in 1918, I think. So the trigger for bank nationalization was manifold at that time. We had fought two wars, one in 62 and one in 65 with China and Pakistan. Government finances were precarious. There were droughts, there were food shortages, and India barely showed any GDP growth. While industry had access to capital, to bank credit, several other sectors did not. And that's where the origin of priority sector lending came there. But the underlying point that is to be noted, according to me, is that banking and finance has to evolve in response to the broader macroeconomic needs of the day.